It's a new stage in our life, so talk about it, embrace it, and don't let it stop you from enjoying the things you love to do most. With 1 in 3 women experiencing some form of light bladder leakage, you are not alone. Here to talk about how we can manage this issue is wellness expert Margaret Wallace-Duffy. Thanks so much for coming in today, Margaret.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So light bladder leakage is a lot more common than most women think, isn't it, Margaret?
You know, I went through menopause about 4 years ago, and at that time we were moving into a new home that had a trampoline in the backyard. And many years ago, I was a national gymnast. And so when I saw that trampoline, I thought, I'm gonna go and jump on it with my kids. I'm gonna be super mom. I had a real eye-opening experience because when I jumped, I looked down and there was a puddle beneath me. Not so cool in front of your children. And I recognized I had a real problem and I needed to do something about it.
So was this embarrassing for you?
You know what, it is. And a lot of women are embarrassed to talk about it, but that's why we're here. We need to talk about this issue because you're not alone. This happens to many of us. But the good news is that we can train our pelvic floor and we can make a difference in the well-being of our indoor plumbing and really take back our independence.
Before we talk about doing the work and ways to cope, what are some of the primary causes of LBL?
There are many causes, and some of the typical ones that many viewers might be aware of. Pregnancy and childbirth, that puts us at greater risk. And it doesn't happen right away, it can be years later. A hysterectomy is another one. Menopause, like with me, a lack of estrogen can make a huge impact on the health of the tissues surrounding the urethra and the bladder, and therefore the sphincter doesn't work well enough to stop the urine. Stress incontinence, which happens whether you're laughing, jogging. It's not cool when that happens, but it is very, very common. And diabetes, it can have an impact on the nerve function around the bladder and urethra.
Well, you talked about how you made changes. What can women do to help cope with LBL?
Well, first and foremost, you really do need to speak to your doctor because there isn't a one-stop solution for every woman. We need to stock your toolbox with things that are good for you. But some of the things, stay fit, stay active and healthy, be hydrated and drink more water, but not caffeine. We want to pay attention to things like physiotherapy, and in particular pelvic floor physiotherapy can be hugely effective in helping to train those pelvic floor muscles and having an impact in incontinence. Something like biofeedback I found to be very, very helpful. And many of you have probably heard about Kegel exercises as well. Training that pelvic floor to function more optimally is really, really important. A simple thing to try actually is when you're going to the washroom, as you urinate, you want to stop midstream and hold it. Then do it again, and stop and do it again. These type of Kegel exercise done 3 times a day, 15 times, 15 repetitions. It's like training a muscle. You need to do it over and over and over again. And let's not forget that there's also an option for bladder leakage. Poise pads and liners are a great option. There's no shame in wearing a pad that's going to allow you to continue through your day, do the exercises, and get your independence back.
Where can we find them?
Well, you can visit Shoppers Drug Mart for any Poise pads and liners.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Margaret, and talking about this subject that we no longer need to be embarrassed about.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
To find out more about how you can make the clean and fresh switch, go to poise.com.